Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios. Back in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm very happy to be home. We had kind of a nightmarish week from a business standpoint, but here we are again. So I can finally get back down to business with all of my backups and stuff. If something goes wrong, I can fix it quickly now. All right, coming into a new week, guess what we have? Options expiration week. For those of you that have followed me know that I play those a little bit differently than I do other weeks. I like to drop my position sizes, and what we've seen in the past, though, is I think the last options expiration week we went through, it was up every day. It was up to sideways every day. So it wasn't a lot of volatility. Normally we do see a lot of volatility during the week as the options writers try to shake people out before the end. But I don't know if we're going to see much of a difference this week either. Looking at the charts this week, a few things I did notice. Here you see on the Dow 60 minute. Look how we have been moving sideways in through this range here. We popped above it for a little while, broke back down into it, and now have come right back up and above where we were before. So it looked like, I was getting a lot of questions about it. Is this a drop? Is this a drop? Well, no, it's not until we break these more major levels. Did we break those? No, we did not. So it's just back to square one, guys. It's still neutral to bullish here in the shorter term. Yes, we're going to get a pullback. So for all of you bears, you still must be prepared. However, that does not have to happen this week, nor does it have to happen this month. The markets have been very strong, and they've been able to hold things up. I do believe when the bear hits, you're going to know. I think it's going to be more than obvious, and I think you're going to need to be aware and alert when it does happen. But looking at it here, look what we might have, guys. Yeah, here's a shoulder. Here's a head, maybe a shoulder, and now a break of that. Ugh, I don't know. It happened on a Friday afternoon. Things get pushed around a lot on Friday afternoon, so take it for what it is. But I will tell you this, Mondays have been what? Good to the markets. Over and over we've seen this. I don't know how many Mondays we've either been sideways to up over the last, 6 months or so? So keep that in mind coming into Monday. No reason to think that we won't see more of the same. I do have a student that believes it'll be a Monday where the crash, or not the crash, but a bigger move down happens by the Bears because they think they're training us. They're Pavlov's dog. They're training us to be ready for an up day on Monday, and one of these times they're going to pull it down. But you know what? Until that happens, we have to remain neutral to bullish and bullish on Mondays. So I'm back to not holding overnight on the indices unless it's a Monday into a Tuesday. Those have worked out pretty well in the past. No reason to think it can't work out in the future. So coming into Monday, here's a head and shoulders type of inverse head and shoulders type pattern that just formed here. This puts the target at somewhere up around 12,000-ish or something on the Dow. Very attainable at this point. So be watching this closely, especially if we start kind of flat to up coming into tomorrow morning. From a daily standpoint, look at where we're headed. Trying to get back to this blue line. Awful steep angle. Not sure we'll make it, but that's what I'm watching for my one of my bigger levels of resistance. NASDAQ on a 60-minute. Look how we've held this channel. Change my lines around a little bit. And on a 60-minute, this is what I think I'm seeing at this point. We're up and over this 1985 mark. This is taking us right back to the 2000 area. I'm watching for this upper line to get hit again. From a daily standpoint, this blue line's holding beautifully. Look how we've moved up, and now moving up again. So until this blue line breaks, the NASDAQ continues to be the monster within the markets, along with, I'm going to give you the Russell. They've been pretty strong too. But I got to hand it to the NASDAQ. It has been very, very strong lately. From a weekly standpoint too, looked like we might get a potential reversal candle last week, and that's why I always say potential. Didn't pan out. Now it's just another continuation doji in this march to the upside, headed right towards where? 2050. That's my next overhead area on the weekly, and then maybe this blue line again gets retested. I know that seems like a ways up there, but very attainable. The way the markets have been moving, it's been holding very, very nicely. I know a lot of people are probably expecting a drop and have been now for weeks. I have too. But until these major levels are broken, there's no reason to even start looking to the bear side. Stay neutral to bullish. SPX on a 60-minute. Here's the big push up right at the end of Friday. Once again, maybe we can make some sort of, this is a lot harder pattern. This isn't near as pretty as the Dow was, so I'm not going to even get into the inverse head and shoulders here because it doesn't work. It either is or it isn't, and this one isn't per se on a 60-minute. However, I will tell you it is still obviously bullish. Look how we pushed up and through here, heading up to that 1200 area now on the SPX and towards this upper level. This is held nicely so far. No reason to think it can't hold again once we get up there. So we'll see if we hit this line and maybe continue sideways or maybe trace it upwards a little bit. I would think it would behoove the markets to, from a money standpoint, to keep the markets up to sideways most of the week. My guess would be there'd be a lot of people buying puts or inputs that are going to expire at the end of the week worthless. Here you have a push towards that 1200. Looking at this blue line, once again, very steep. Not sure we're going to make it back up here, but the point being, it is since, look at this, end of February. Move up. Little bit of a pullback here. Move up, high base. Move up, pullback. Move up, pullback. Oh, move up, pull back, and move up. It's just really kind of methodical from a technical analysis standpoint, but it's exactly what the markets should be doing in these type of moves. This just looked like a pullback. Sure enough, that's what it was. So it's been very predictable that way. From a weekly standpoint, this also is pushing its way where? Towards that 200-week moving average. Keep your eyes on this move up here. VIX on a daily, still down. You can see here we did touch that blue line. What this is telling me, I don't necessarily get into the whole TA of the VIX, but what this is telling me is that there still is obviously no fear in the market. Nothing to be concerned about. This actually kind of shows that low base. Remember I said this drop down here was technically a low base formation until we get back up above this area. You have to treat this as a low base, and that's what it's done. It's broke to the downside. We'll see if it continues that way into this next week, but no reason to think it won't. Really, there's no reason to think it won't maybe drop down a little bit further, taking us back towards this 15-ish area after a break of this more solid blue line. Apple on a 60-minute, change some lines in here so we can kind of see where we're at. Following this uptrend